Greetings, thank you for lending an ear to the Voice of the Times for Thursday, April 14, 2022. For today's editorial, Russian use of chemical weapons must be condemned. In a war that has already resulted in the world witnessing the invading Russian forces committing some of the most brutal atrocities seen since World War II, there was an even more disturbing development this week with reports of a possible chemical weapons attack by Russia in the besieged Ukrainian port city of Mariupol. To be clear, there has been no verification yet that a chemical attack did occur, and reliable confirmation may be elusive given the difficult situation in Mariupol. But there is enough circumstantial evidence that an unequivocal condemnation of the use of the illegal weapons must be made, even if only preemptively. On Tuesday, Manila time, the Azov battalion of the Ukrainian National Guard in Mariupol reported they were attacked by a Russian drone that released a cloud of some gaseous substance, following which several of its personnel were stricken with breathing and movement difficulties. These symptoms are associated with nerve gas poisoning, of which Russia has several varieties in its chemical arsenal. It is speculated the attack was carried out with either a diluted form of nerve gas or with tear gas mixed with a small amount of nerve agent. The report is problematic, however, because the Azov battalion's members are most right-wing ultra-nationalists. There is no possibility of independent investigation of the attack. Nevertheless, there are reasons to suspect the report may be true. For one thing, the Russian government has yet to explicitly deny the attack, and furthermore, has made statements in the past few weeks implying that this is considered the use of chemical weapons an option in its campaign against Ukraine. In addition, just days before the reported attack in Mariupol, both British and US intelligence warned of the possibility of a chemical attack somewhere in Ukraine. It is also worth noting that the suspected chemical attack comes shortly after Russian President Vladimir Putin appointed General Alexander Dvornikov, the Butcher of Syria, as commander the Russian intervention in the Syrian civil war, and earned his nickname from the indiscriminate bombing of civilians. The Russians are also suspected of having used chemical weapons in Syria, or at the very least, supplying them to the Syrian government, which definitely did use them. Chemical weapons were banned and were supposed to have been destroyed according to the terms of the 1997 treaty signed by a majority of the world's countries, including the US and Russia, which at the time had the biggest stockpiles of chemical weapons. Russia still maintains an arsenal of chemical weapons, and it is believed the US still has some as well, although a great deal of the US arsenal was dismantled and disposed of in a demonstrably public way in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Since the end of the World War I, the last war in which chemical weapons were commonly used, only 3 countries are known to have used them: Iraq on several occasions during and after the Iran-Iraq War, Syria in its long and bloody civil war, and Russia, which may have used them in combat and has definitely used them to attempt to assassinate dissidents, and once in 2018 against a former KGB agent and defector in Salisbury, England, and again in August 2020 against a prominent Putin opponent Alexander Navalny. Even in the comparatively uncivilized atmosphere of war, something so barbaric as chemical weapons have no place. If the chemical attack was indeed carried out, allowing it to go unchallenged and not met with several consequences would be a grave error on the part of the rest of the world. More such attacks by Russia would simply be encouraged by a weak or non-response, with potentially horrifying consequences for the people of Ukraine. In fact, the reported attack this week may have been a test on Russia's part to see how the world would react. Furthermore, failure to respond to a chemical attack by Russia might encourage other regimes in conflict elsewhere in the world to resort to chemical weapons. Thus, even if the recent attack in Mariupol turns out to be a false alarm, the condemnation is still justified and necessary, as a warning that such inhumane action will bring severe consequences. And that's the editorial for Thursday, April 14, 2022. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram and listen to the Voice of the Times.